The truth hit Claire Monroe on a Tuesday night in Oregon. The kind of quiet truth that doesn't shout but still changes everything. It arrived while rain tapped against the kitchen window and her husband sat across from her, scrolling his phone, nodding without listening. In that moment, Claire understood something painful and clear. Love was still there, but being seen was gone. For the first time in her 36 years. She wondered if a good marriage could still feel lonely. Claire had once believed happiness was simple. You fall in love, you build a life, and if you're lucky, that one person becomes your home. And for years, Daniel Monroe had been exactly that. He was steady, kind, respected in their small town of Maplewood. He worked hard, paid the bills on time, remembered birthdays, and never raised his voice. Friends admired their marriage. Neighbors trusted them. From the outside, nothing was missing, but Claire felt it every morning when she woke before Daniel and lay staring at the ceiling. She felt it when she shared news and received a polite smile instead of excitement. She felt it when her dreams stayed locked inside her chest because there was no space to release them. Daniel wasn't cruel. He was simply tired. And she was tired of pretending that was enough. The distance between them had grown slowly, like a crack in ice. No argument marked the beginning. No betrayal explained the end. Just silence. Long dinners without real conversation. Evenings where they sat together but lived in separate thoughts. Claire missed being desired emotionally. Missed feeling like her presence mattered. One evening, after weeks of holding her breath, Daniel finally spoke the words she hadn't dared to say. "I don't think I can be everything you need," he said quietly, staring at the table as if it might answer for him. Claire felt the weight of that sentence settle in her chest. She expected anger. Instead, she felt relief. Someone had finally named the truth. "I don't need everything," she replied. "I just need to feel alive again." Daniel leaned back, exhausted. He loved her, but love had become pressure. Somewhere along the way, he had started to feel like he was failing her simply by being human. What if happiness doesn't have to come from just one place? He asked, unsure of his own words. The idea shocked Claire. Marriage was supposed to be complete, self-contained. But his question didn't feel careless. It felt honest. They talked for hours that night. Not about rules or labels, but about loneliness, expectations, and the quiet damage caused by silence. Daniel admitted he felt responsible for her joy and guilty when he couldn't deliver it. Claire admitted she had been shrinking herself, afraid to ask for more. Out of that raw honesty, something new formed. Not permission to betray. Not an escape from commitment. But a different understanding of connection over time. 5 people became part of Claire's emotional world openly, carefully, without lies. The first was Ethan, childhood friend from Michigan. They had grown up together, shared scraped knees and big dreams. Talking to him reminded Claire of the fearless girl she once was. His laughter was easy. His support came without expectation. Then there was Marcus, a coworker who respected her intelligence. He listened when she spoke about work, about ambition, about wanting more than routine. He never crossed lines, but he made her feel capable again. Noah lived next door. Their bond grew over morning coffee and casual talks about books, regrets, and the quiet weight of aging dreams. With him, silence felt safe instead of empty. Liam was a reminder of creativity. An old college friend who talked about music and art and the beauty of unfinished things. He made Claire remember how much she loved creating, dreaming, imagining, and Daniel remained at the center. Her husband. The man who knew her habits, her fears, her history. The man who chose honesty over control. Each connection filled a different space in her heart. None replaced love. None crossed physical boundaries. They were emotional bridges, not escapes. For the first time in years, Claire felt balanced. She laughed more. She slept better. She spoke freely. The world felt wider, but with that freedom came a fear she couldn't ignore. She noticed Daniel growing quieter. Not angry, just distant. He had offered her space without realizing how much it would change him. Watching Claire light up again made him happy and afraid. One night, Claire caught him sitting alone on the porch, staring into the dark. "I thought I was helping you," he said softly. "I didn't expect to feel like I was disappearing." The words hit Claire hard. She realized then that healing herself didn't mean forgetting the man who stood beside her. She had found pieces of herself through others, but the foundation was still. Daniel Dot as rain returned to Maplewood and spring waited just beyond winter. Claire stood at the kitchen window again. This time her heart was fuller, but heavier too. She understood something now. Love wasn't simple. It wasn't owned or complete or easy, and the question that lingered wasn't whether she could be happy. It was whether love could survive when honesty finally told the truth. By the time spring reached Maplewood, the truth could no longer hide in quiet corners. Claire Monroe felt it in the way her husband's smile came a second too late, in the way his eyes searched her face as if he were afraid of what he might find. Something had changed, and this time, love alone could not smooth it over. The freedom they had chosen together was asking for a price neither of them had fully understood. Daniel tried to tell himself he was fine. He had agreed to this new way of living. He had watched Claire come back to life, and part of him was proud. She laughed more now. She spoke with energy. She carried herself like someone who had remembered her worth. That was what he wanted for her. But late at night, when the house was quiet, Daniel lay awake feeling smaller than he ever had before. Claire noticed the distance even before Daniel said a word. The man who once leaned toward her now leaned away. He still asked about her day, still held her hand in public, but something warm between them had cooled. She realized then that balance was fragile. What had healed her might be quietly hurting him. The breaking point came on a calm Sunday evening. No argument, no raised voices, just truth. "I feel like I opened the door and stepped back," Daniel said, sitting on the porch as the sky turned orange. "And now I don't know where I stand." Claire sat beside him, her chest tight. She understood that pain too well. She had lived inside it for years. "I never wanted to lose you," she said. "I was trying to find myself." "I know," he replied, "but I forgot to protect myself while doing that." That night, they talked until the porch light flickered. They spoke about fear, about how love can stretch but still tear if handled without care. Daniel admitted he felt replaceable, like he was no longer enough. Claire admitted she had mistaken fullness for freedom, not realizing love still needed tending. For the first time, Claire questioned her choices. The 5 connections had helped her feel whole, but they had also shown her what truly mattered. None of those people shared her history. None of them knew the quiet details of her life the way Daniel did. None of them had promised to grow old beside her. Over the next days, Claire made decisions with clarity instead of guilt. She stepped back from what no longer served balance. Some connections softened into simple friendships. Others faded naturally, their purpose complete. What remained was understanding, not longing. And with each step back, she stepped closer to Daniel. They started small. Morning walks, honest check-ins, shared silence without distance. Daniel began to speak again, not as a man afraid of failing, but as a man learning to be present without carrying the weight of perfection. One evening, Daniel finally said what he had been holding inside. "I don't need to be everything," he said. "I just need to know I matter." Claire took his hand, steady and sure. "You always mattered," she said. "I just forgot to show it." Healing didn't happen overnight. Trust needed time. But honesty had cleared the path. Claire learned that love was not about collecting support from many places without care. It was about understanding limits. It was about choosing responsibility along with freedom. It was about protecting the people who open their hearts. Daniel learned that love does not mean sacrificing yourself until there is nothing left. It means growing alongside someone, not ahead of them or behind them. By early summer, Maplewood felt different. The same streets, the same neighbors, but the air felt lighter. Claire and Daniel walked together more often, not because they had to, but because they wanted to. They talked about dreams again, about travel, about what kind of life they wanted next. One night, as fireflies lit the yard, Daniel looked at Claire and smiled with the warmth she had missed. "I don't regret what we tried," he said. "It taught me what love really needs." Claire nodded. "It taught me too. Love," she realized, was not about being everything to each other. It was about choosing each other after learning the truth. It was about honesty without harm, freedom with care, and connection built on respect. As the season changed, Claire felt grounded in a way she never had before. She no longer searched for herself in others. She carried herself whole. And Daniel no longer feared being left behind. He stood beside her, not as an anchor or a replacement, but as a partner. Sometimes happiness doesn't come from adding more to your life. Sometimes it comes from understanding what is worth holding on to and holding it with both hands.